if I were to be with my mom, you know, for the rest of my life, say that I've never been here, I think it would have been very, very difficult. I wouldn't have made music like I do today. I would have sit in a wheelchair, to be honest, because she thought that, oh, he's handicapped in his legs, he can't do anything, and in reality she would just put me in a chair, in a wheelchair, for the rest of my life. My kind of music is, for me, very emotional at some times, but can be very, it's kind of music where you kind of have to close your eyes and then you have to kind of just listen. It's more of a journey, if you can call it that. It's like a big journey you're going on. Trance music is very special. It's put up in a very, very special way. It's like very melodic, yet it can be very driving. It's very beautiful. It makes me emotional on every level, you know. Like if I'm sad, I put on a sad track, produced trance track. It's like the melodies does something to you. When I listen to trance, like my mind gets calm, you know. It's like it makes me not worry and try to really to just let go of myself. I have always been into music. Since I was a little baby, and obviously when I was 2-3 years old, I kind of discovered electronic music specifically, and when I was like in my teen years, music has been obviously a very, very big thing for me, especially trance music. When I found my love for that. But yeah, I obviously had a dream about producing my own music.
They told us that he had a very special gift because he is so into music.
He has a music ear.
Already as a baby.
A lot of my track names are based on different things in my life. Good or bad times. It really depends on how my mood is. So I always kind of think back to what happened at a certain point, and that's the way I kind of let out my emotions and my feelings more out, and I can relax better. My most emotional track titles I've ever done is like, of course, we have The Truth We Can't Escape, which was made for my grandfather because he passed away years ago. Then we have Why So Afraid of Me, which is obviously pointed at my biological mother, but also my past in the late 2000s, early 2000s, I guess. Then we have The Life I Chose, which was about me. As a person, about how I am, how I came over stuff from my childhood. Then we have You Said You Promised, which was another track for my mom, because obviously she promised me a lot of stuff which would never really happen. So that one is really emotional as well. I've been with my foster parents for about 26 years now, because my mom, my biological mom, couldn't take care of me. So she was, when I was 1 year old, she was kind of looking for a foster parent to take care of me. And So I've been here 26 years and been doing really well.
When Jack's biological mother couldn't take care of him, Jack moved to a foster family because his biological father had left the family and moved back to Egypt to pursue his career in the restaurant business. But Jack still got to see his biological mother on weekends.
I really feel like I've developed so much because it's like, I mean, looking back at all this and seeing all these pictures, it makes me glad to see who I am today. So it's very special, and also regarding to my mom. As I said, I had a very hard time connecting with her because she was like the person who wanted to kind of please herself a little bit more. She would always like promise me stuff, and then it didn't really happen. So I've kind of wanted to stay away from my biological mother because I didn't feel that she was there for me at all. I feel really sad about it because she keeps contacting me like in all sorts of different ways, but she doesn't understand that there is a reason why I didn't want to speak with her, you know, and it's really hard. It's really heartbroken to kind of leave your own mom and say, hey, I need to not see you because you're too much in my life, you know.
Have you ever felt loved by your biological mother?
At some point, yeah. At some point, when she really tried hard to do her best to be there for me. There has been moments where she have actually been really good to me, like a mom should. But it's been very little. I'm sorry to say it, but.
Have you been able to forgive her?
I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive her fully, but sometimes I have to, because it's not her fault that she is like she is. But at the same time, the things she does, the things she do to people, she did to me. Again, I'm sorry to say it, but it's really unforgivable. When you should be there for your children, you know. I really need people to be there for me. As a person, I really need them to be there for me, and I know it's really hard for them to understand when they have things they fight for themselves, they fight within themselves. But in reality, all I want is like people to be there, to show they really care for me, because as I told, my mom wasn't there for me, and that leads to hate and anger, and my frustration back then lead me to do different things. We had what do you call it? A kitten. You know, like those small cats. And I remember one time that back when I was very little, you know, like 10 years old or something like that. I was alone, but I remember the day before, her boyfriend at that time, he was hitting me, and this frustration, I couldn't take it anymore, and I needed to do something. And this is very special for me to speak about, but I actually. Out of frustration, because I was so little, and in reality that was something that I would never ever do. But my frustration, I really wanted it out, so I let it out on this kitten. So it actually died, and it's really, I get really emotional and sad by thinking back on it, and I remember. my biological mom and and his boyfriend at that time, and they were really angry at me, and I was like so really scared, because in reality I didn't know what I've done. I just knew it was wrong of me, but at the same time I didn't know what I've done. I didn't know because I was angry. I was sad because I was treated like that every weekend I was going there. Back then I used to get dreams about my mom, and I have them frequently, but this one was really bad. I had this dream about my mom saying, well, you can't be with your foster parents anymore. You have to be with me for the rest of your life. And I was devastating when I woke up, and I cried, and I talked with my foster parents, and I couldn't control myself. I was angry, I was devastated because I had that dream. It was hard for me too, because in reality, if I were to be with my mom, you know, for the rest of my life, say that I've never been here, I think it would have been very, very difficult. I wouldn't have made music like I do today. I would have sit in a wheelchair, to be honest, because she thought that, oh, he's handicapped in his legs, he can't do anything, and in reality she would just put me in a chair, in a wheelchair, for the rest of my life.
The first time we met Jack, he was 16 months, but he was developed like a little baby. He was 7 kilos and just laying there like a 7-month-old baby. Couldn't do anything. He couldn't eat by himself. He had to have a bottle with milk, like a baby. And at 16 months you can eat bread and...
Normally.
Yeah. So he was a little bird baby. And he looked like a little bird, even from birth, because he was premature, 2 pounds of weight. The head doctor on the Rigshospital, where he was born, had told us that he would never talk, he would never sit, he would never walk. Luckily, Jack didn't know about that.
He's a big fighter.
Nope. Sitting fast. You can see it right there. Damn. Well, gonna take the halfway then. Okay. Like så mange i dag.
Jack goes to a school called Empata. It's a school that works with creative learning through painting, music production and video editing. It's a school for students with special needs, who has a hard time finding their place in society.
The goal is to develop their personality, be a person that can participate in the society. that is the main purpose. We need people to not to be in the system and get paid just to be, but be some people that can do something for themselves and be self-employed somehow, or employed in some place, or taking some education somehow, educate themselves.
How would you explain Jack's evolution since he started here?
In many ways, it have been a curve just rising. He's getting better and better and better to making this kind of music he's doing. His body is not functional perfectly, and and that is very tough for him. He got pain and so on, but even with pain, he's still making music. And sometimes he can't come here because he is in too much pain to transport to the school. So he is getting better and better networking. A lot of records and remixes, and it's like a parallel. He's here. He is some kind of. He is handicapped, officially, but in a parallel world, he's doing too. He's not a handicapped. He is the opposite of handicap, you can say. He is a very skilled man.
Apart from offering creative learning, Empata also offers their students to become stronger physically. Recently, Jack has started a new training program with his new personal trainer.
I want Jack to get as good as possible, actually. But I don't really want to give him a side of he will be very, very good in short time, and then it just don't happen. Actually, I want to get him better, to get him feel better with himself, about his body, actually, with the physical training. That's my goal in this, and inspiring of this workout is maybe will feel better about his music, to make his music, to perform on stage. So that's why I think it would be a good idea, just for making a better performer. I hope he will believe himself better as a person, and with other person also. Maybe also get his disability to know better, as where his strength sides and where his downsides are. Maybe I could help him do that process, actually, and inspiring of that, just being better music performer, actually.
Is your disability similar to Jack's as well?
Yeah, it's similar to Jack's, but not at the same. Actually, you talked about. What shall I call it? We talked about this, you have people sitting in a wheelchair and not could do so much, actually, by themselves. But me and Jack, we could do a lot of things. You have seen me walking, and I'm a bit stiff in my walk. But that's the kind of things that's mainly things to Jack also, that he's walking, he's just doing this thing with his back, and that's the thing we have mainly together. Apart from Jack, to me, it's that I have worked out a lot of years and then getting better. I'm not getting healed by my disability, but I get a lot better. I've started by a wheelchair and stuff like that. And when I see Jack, I think, why just try? Try to see how far can we go if we work out. It's mainly for the back and for the stomach and for the strength about the whole body, to make Jack compared to hold himself better. Then he doesn't have to do all the You know, the strength is, if Jack gets more strength, that's then he will able to more relaxing when he just walk around and sit down in a chair. Actually, he do a lot of workouts actually just for sitting down, because he needs to hold himself all the time. When you sit down on a chair, you don't think about it. Jack, he needs to think about to sit right in the position to talk with you. And that's why I do the kind of stuff we saw today, because that will make him better to just make the normal, typical life, actually. It's easier for Jack to relate to them that have the same disability. So I think that's my way into this subject. I think I could make a difference. That's I hope to make a difference for Jack and other people.
Oh God. You see? It's all bumpy as hell. My condition is I'm born with spastic paralysis, which is you're sort of paralyzed in your body. For this instance, I'm paralyzed in my legs, so that means that I can't walk very well. And been through a lot of operations to get my legs to work out, and I walked like this in the past with my feet, and also basically I have a hard time spreading my legs out, because this leg apparently feels like it wants to go in and disturb here. So that's a little bit of a problem, but yeah, I've been through a heck lot of operations. Basically also my scenes in my legs have been kind of extended, so it's not so I don't walk as unstable as I did before. And then I got a scene. I got a extension in my scene here as well, on both my toes or my feet. And then I got recently, for 2 years ago, I got an operation in my feet. Basically, what it started with was actually I got some metal stuff inside my big toes to make them stand out more, because they were like also moving right in like this, and so I got them more spread out. But the metal was annoying me, so we had to take it out. I had to get another operation to take it out. Also, I have some problems with my eyes. I'm born with weak eyes, so I don't see very well. And I also have some problems with turrets that I have. And which makes me say some weird sounds, like some people say I sound like a cat, like or something like that, and that's really something that I fight with a lot of times. But over the years, I've learned to accept who I am, and also deal with what other thinks of you as a person, you know. Sometimes I get people who are looking at me weirdly because the way I walk, or if I say some sounds or anything like that. It can be really kind of sometimes a little bit irritating, but at the same time I have to remember they don't know who I am.
Jack's foster grandparents supported him a lot when he was growing up, and became two of his biggest fans, especially his grandmother.
I remember when I started music producing on a serious level, she would always call me and ask me how I did with the music, and that was always something that was really really amazing that having a grandmother, having grandparents who was interested in my music. And then my grandfather, just before he died, I was visiting him in his place he was at, like a caretaking place for old people. And I remember the last thing he ever said to me before he died, days after, was, "Jack, how is your music doing? How are you doing with the music?" And it still hit me so hard because he had demence, which is where you kind of forget things, but suddenly you remember things from the past. But he was all around the place in his head, and then it was so sad to see him like this. But it was really, I'm really grateful that I got to visit my grandfather for the last time, and he actually said those words to me. It kind of, it is stuck with me here, you know, like just like my grandmother calling me every single time I was doing a gig, or I was doing a new track, or doing with the music. I was playing often here in Copenhagen with some cool friends of mine that I'm still working with. And she would always call me and tell me how it went, or I would tell her how it went. She would ask how I was doing, and one thing my grandmother always used to do is she was always making tea for me, and it kind of have been stuck with me because I tend to, after she died, I was always making tea myself, usually in the morning or in the evening, or whenever I feel like it. And it's kind of funny because I'm kind of a tea head, because I really like to drink it. But I've never actually really thought about drinking that before. It's been sometimes, but it's like, it's just frequently I do it now. And I think it's some of my grandmother who is inside of me, you know, because I remember when she was helping me and taking care of me. So I always have this love for making tea.
What is your best memory of playing your own music?
Best memory got to be Luminosity last year. It was freaking surreal. When I walked up to that stage, I was pretty nervous. I was pretty nervous when in the flight overall. So I was like really nervous. And then when I came up the scene, I was kind of trying to figure out the mixer because I had some problems with getting the levels right and everything. So I was kind of I was a little bit stressed, but in the end, more people were coming, and I was starting up slowly. Half an hour in the set, I get to control myself a little bit more. Like I'm more laid back. So I was pretty nervous. So.
Were you ever worried of how people would welcome you as well?
Not exactly, because it's like that's not really the thing I think the most about. I'm trying not to worry too much about what other things. Again, this is kind of a little bit of a problem for me, because sometimes I worry way too much about what other things about me, and I try to really resemble others when I cannot. But yeah. I was not really nervous at that point. I was more like I can't wait to see how Lumi is and how the atmosphere is, you know, because I've heard so many great things about it. It was kind of wild. People were coming over to me and they were like, they wanted me to sign their T-shirt, and they wanted me to give, like, they want to give me gifts and everything, and I was like, whoa, this is surreal, man. And there was one particular guy He was like, "Oh my God!" He was like asking my helper Clint. He was like, "Is that Dreamy who's on stage?" Because he was I think it was kind of surreal.
We met a guy. He poked me on my shoulder and said, "Is that Dreamy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he went nuts. He started crying. I said, "Oh my God, it's Dreamy!" He went totally nuts. And he wanted to say hello to Jack. And Jack, he's a pretty open guy. He just gave the guy a hug and said, "Hey, that's pretty wild."
When I heard it, I was like, "Whoa!" So that was really cool.
When they come home and told how many people wanted to have his autograph, and I thought, is that my son? Very proud, very big for us too. It was really huge.
I don't know what my future holds. I don't really know, because it's up to the future, I guess, like to decide what I do. But it's also up to myself what I want to do in life, and I guess that's really the drive for how the future is gonna look for me. If you have the positive and the right drive, even the negative, it doesn't matter. The future, you kind of decide your future yourself by just being who you are.